Barrett Jones. Congrats to you, man. I like the looks of the little one here, man. I'm looking at him right now on your Twitter profile. Hope all is well, man.
Well, thanks a lot, Ryan. It's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed becoming a dad and learned a lot. Starting to get maybe a little bit of sleep, but it's been a fun experience and really an interesting time to have a kid. I'll say that.
All right, so let me ask you: what's the one thing that you're good at, and one thing that you need to practice with? What's the one thing that you've been able to dominate? And one thing that you need to practice with as far as a child?
Oh, I would say the one thing that I'm really good at probably is swaddling. I think my swaddle game is very strong.
Okay.
I know how to manipulate those blankets pretty well.
Okay.
The thing that I need to work on, there's so many, Ryan. I would just say maybe just patience in general.
Okay.
I think I need to trust the process a little bit more. Sometimes I'm just go ahead, kind of ready for him to already kind of know, how to sleep and when to nap and when to eat and all those things. And I have to remind myself that, he's only like 2 weeks old. So, it's going to take a little bit of time for him to figure this stuff out.
I got you. Roll Tide, has he got a Roll Tide shirt, Alabama shirt? I mean, has that come
He definitely has some elephant. We definitely got a lot of elephant gifts and, several Alabama, onesies or whatever. So, the baby's clothes game is something I'm learning a lot about. It definitely, a lot of outfits and, you're buying all kinds of stuff.
So Barrett, I'm curious. What were you bigger than that as a child, or were you smaller than Junior?
No, he was actually a much bigger baby than I was.
Okay.
I was only about 7 pounds 9 ounces. Now I was a really big toddler. I think I weighed like 32 pounds when I was 1 year, and I grew pretty early. But I was not a big infant, and so but I grew quickly once I was outside the womb, and so my son was 8'6", and he was actually a week early. So, he was pretty big, and so we'll see. Who knows how big he'll be, and all those percentages and everything are apparently not very accurate anyway until they get a little bit older. So I would say he's got a decent chance to be at least a decent sized kid. Obviously, I'm 6'5". My wife's about close to 5'8". So he's I think he's got a decent shot to probably at least break 6 feet or so.
Yeah. And it looks like he's got a big set of feet. I'm not sure if it's just the photo. I mean, we're analyzing a kid that's 2 weeks old. I mean, that's what we do in T-Town. But in
that picture, he was literally 2 minutes old. So
okay.
I mean, I think the feet are big, but probably not quite as big as that picture looks, to be honest.
Okay.
But he does. He's got really long toes. So again, I don't know.
That's plenty of balance. It's plenty of balance, man. I mean, that's
he'll be very balanced. That's right. So. It's a lot of fun, Ryan. Just it's a whole different ball game. You know it. You know it better than I do. It's just it's an adventure, and just trying to. I would say the thing I'm most thankful for is my wife and just having her by my side to help me out, because I would be totally lost without her guidance and motherly instinct.
Okay. That is an awesome, and I'll give you my only key advice. Okay, this is what I offer every.
Hey, hit me with it. I'll take any advice.
New parent, okay. You got to create Barrett Jr. a hard sleeper. And the way that you do that is you go through your normal activities throughout the day. So if he's sleeping, don't be like tiptoeing, whispering. Create a hard sleeper by just doing what you guys do. If it's watching TV, you watch TV. We did that. Our daughter could sleep through anything. Now, sometimes it's hard for school in the morning, the alarm clock. You have to invest in a bigger alarm clock. But if you do that early, you create a very sound sleeper. So that's my only advice.
All right. Well, I will attempt to implement that with Anderson and see if I can get that going, and maybe trying to create some noise in his background. So even though I think that there at certain times you'd give up just about anything for him to go to sleep, I think they came into it with a good plan, but. It's kind of like that Mike Tyson quote, everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the mouth.
Yes.
And I think we've done a good job with the plan, but you also have to be a little bit flexible, because babies are not robots, and you got to just kind of make do with sometimes the things that happen.
Well, I'm glad that mom and baby are doing good. Barrett, I want to tie the NFL draft. Walk us through the NFL draft. How stressful is that from a player perspective when you're sitting there and you're watching the TV screen and you're watching for your phone and then the phone rings? What's that like?
Yeah, it's definitely it's very unique. Stressful, yes. But kind of by the time I had gotten there, I really just sort of had an overwhelming sense of peace because I had no control over it. It's really, there's not a whole lot of other situations like that where you're sitting there and on live television, you're about to find out one of 32 cities where you're going to live, probably for the next few years. That's really a unique thing. And so, you're just sitting there watching. And I remember on draft night for me, there was about 3 teams that I thought I could go to. Ended up getting drafted by the Rams. That was not even one of the 3 teams, that I thought were the 3 that liked me the most. So you just never know. You never know where you're going to end up and how things are going to fall. And, it really is a situation where you just got to have a lot of faith that God has a plan for your life and He knows better than you. So it's very odd, but you just.
Barrett, on the other end of that, when they make that phone call, what do they say? I mean, like, what does the GM or the head coach, what do they say?
Yeah, Jeff Fisher called me and he just said, "Hey, Barrett, it's Jeff Fisher. We're about to take you with the." I remember it popped up St. Louis, 314, I think is the area code, and I had a feeling it was probably them. And he said, "Jeff Fisher, we're about to take you here with this next pick," and just said, "We're excited to have you as a Ram." So. And then, you kind of, I honestly don't remember. It's kind of a blur, everything else after that. You just say, you're excited and yada, yada. And so, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, it just seems like it is. And, I think we see a lot of players. And, I talk about the dream that these players grow up to play college football at the University of Alabama or whatever their respected college is. And then they go to the NFL and you see that emotions. I mean, it's that's to me, it kind of makes me smile to see these lives, the dreams coming true. It's kind of fun to experience that.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, it's, there's a lot of dreams that come true. There's a lot of unique stories. I think the NFL has done a really nice job of making it into an event, where there's a lot that goes on and, they try to highlight some of those unique stories and dreams that have come true. And obviously there's a lot of financial situations that probably are going to be changing for families if they play their cards right for a lot of generations. So I think it's really a cool process. It's really unique to watch it unfold. And, there's obviously a lot of different ways to approach it. The guys who approach it as the start of something special and the start of a journey, and those are the ones usually who are really successful down the road and continue to work hard and improve as a player.
Hey, Barrett, let's go back to spring practice and the coronavirus being taken out. Who do you think this impacts the most? 15 practices lost in the spring, no spring football, nothing on campus as far as organized activities. Who do you think hurts the most when you look around college football?
Oh, I don't know as far as a team in particular, but I would just say in general it definitely hurts a lot of those freshmen, I think, that are going to come in. Now we see so many freshmen come in mid-year and have that first spring practice, and that's, I think, one of the reasons we've seen so many freshmen make a huge impact, really in the last few years, because they've been coming in and really getting that first semester under their belts, and obviously didn't get that same kind of experience with all that's happened. And so, I think we'll probably see maybe a little less contribution early in the year by some freshmen. Now, obviously, that's assuming that business will carry on as usual, which again we don't know that yet. So there's a lot of unknowns right now. There's a lot up in the air. A lot of people that are very unsure of how everything will happen, if we'll have fans, and there'll be school, and really there's nothing's for sure at this very juncture. So I do think that those young guys that probably won't, maybe some of them won't have quite as big of an impact early as maybe they would have otherwise. I would say it would favor a more experienced team, a veteran team who's been playing together for a while. Coming back with a lot of key pieces. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see the way it unfolds.
How about new coaches? Implement, like you look at Lane Kiffin, just about maybe 45 minutes an hour from where you're at, trying to implement a system without spring football.
That's a great point. I think definitely new coaches as well. That's I would say those guys really it probably hurts them that they're not able to do this. I'm sure they've been having a lot of Zoom meetings and, hanging out with the players as much as they're allowed to, but still it's really hard when you can't be on the field to get a lot really accomplished and to get guys comfortable with the new system.
Barrett, how much time do you think you need to get conditioned for practice? Let's say that the deadline. I mean, you hear some of this July talk, but I mean, we're going without strength conditioning, and I know they're able to do some things, but it's more of independent. How much time do you think you need if fall camp starts August the 1st, and we don't know for certain when that date is? How much time do you need prior to that to get conditioned for fall camp?
Yeah, I mean, I would say ideally you have just 2 months total. One month to get conditioned and 1 month, to have fall camp and practice. I would say the smallest time I could see it being done would be 6 weeks total. Where you just started to get conditioned. You obviously wouldn't be able to practice the same way you would normally, but you would just start to morph, more into what you're after, and almost a hybrid, workout camp setting. But I would say ideally you'd like to have at least that 8-week time, with training combined with fall camp, really to get ready for a season based on all that's going on. Now, look, I'm not basing that on anything other than just experience and what I remember. But certainly it's ideal to have those 2 months in the summer to get ready. But I think it's possible to do it with just one. And let's not forget that this is how they did it for a long time before this. And I know a lot about football has changed, but a lot of people didn't come in the summers, and they had the summers off for a decent amount of time in the college football world. And they would come and show up for fall camp, and I think it was maybe about 6 weeks or so then. So I know, again, I understand that a lot's changed since then, but it's not impossible. And one thing I think is lost in this, Ryan, is that the players want to play. Just talking to some guys, like I know obviously you want them to be safe, and they want to be safe, and they want to figure out a way, you can do it safely. But I get the sense that, they came to these universities to play football, so they want to find a way to be able to play and obviously help themselves continue their dreams. So, there'll be a lot of talk in the coming weeks about, the NCAA and, free labor and how, they're putting these guys in harm's way and that kind of thing. And obviously you got to find a compromise where you're not doing that, and that's a non-negotiable. But I mean, at the same time, I think the players want to find that because they want to play. They didn't come there, just to sit out a season. They came there to play football, and so I think they want to do that.
Hey, Barrett, final thing. Throughout this season, we always throw this final question to you to encourage people. Man, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are hurting. There's a lot of people that just the unknown. Can you always have a way with words and tying in with our faith, Scripture? I'm just going to turn the last question over to you and speak to those people that need a little word of encouragement.
Well, Ryan, a psalm that I've heard a lot during this time is Psalm 91. It's a really good scripture. If you hadn't read it, take some time to read it. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll just read the first few verses. And it says, "Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Surely He will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and your rampart. You will not fear the night of terror, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, nor the plague that destroys at midday." Ryan, this has been a time for me of really reflection of my life and who I am as a person, and maybe some of the things that have taken hold in my heart and really what's important to me. I think this has a unique way when all the noise kind of dies down and when you're at your house a lot, to really kind of find out what's important to you and what really makes you tick, and maybe some of the idols that have covered up in your life and things that really you worship and have put above your faith. And so, I hope it's been a time for a lot of people of really reflection of figuring out, how are we going to use this time here to really to grow in our faith, to spend time, reading the Bible and spending time in prayer and spending time with relationships with our family and friends that we're able to talk to and see. And not just filling our lives up with so much busyness. And obviously, when things hopefully someday return back to normal, we'll do some of the same things we've always done. But I hope that we always remember this time and remember to really focus on what's important, because I think this has added a lot of perspective to the things that we really spend a lot of time worrying and caring about.